Hello and welcome. See, that's what I get for playing in chat before the show starts. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. Tonight we're going to talk about some of the things that you need to know before you run an online contest. Specifically, we're going to talk about why you would want to do this, how to avoid some really bad information that's out there, unfortunately. And we're going to talk about where you can find good information about the legal considerations and just some general good advice about how to set yourself up. And then we'll get into the fun stuff, like what to give away and how you're going to do that and what to do after. So let's get the party started. Alrighty, so hey, we even got the captions working tonight. That's a win. So thank you, Eddie, for staying up so late. I appreciate that. So we're going to talk tonight about the things that you need to know before you run an online contest. But we're going to start off with like the basics of why you would even want to do that, right? So there must be a reason. There are actually several reasons. This is a really good way to do a bunch of different things. And some of them you can accomplish all at once. Some of them you're going to want to target more specifically. But just as a quick run through, it's a really great way to increase traffic, whether that's traffic to your website or to whatever social platform you're trying to build up some energy around. It's a phenomenal way to build your email list. Right? That's always a good thing. You want to build your email list so you've got people that you can reach out to and notify when you're doing things like a live show or if you've got a new product coming out or what have you. Hello, Murphy. Murphy's upset. They're still setting off fireworks in my neighborhood. Another good thing you can do with a contest is generate leads, right? It's a great way to get some attention on that kind of thing. You can also use it just for the simple fact of boosting your brand's awareness, right? If you're trying to let people know that you're out there, contest is a really good way to get people's attention because it's the kind of thing everybody wants to win something for free. Everybody wants something for nothing. So it's a good way to go ahead and get that ball rolling for you. Just a couple more ideas. It's a great way to either engage with your audience or to reward them for being so phenomenal. Because you do have a phenomenal audience, whether or not you realize it, they're out there. And it's just a great way to kind of give back to them in a way. And just to create general buzz, right? So whether you've got a new product or service coming out, maybe you're expanding into a new area, either physical location or maybe a new area of your business or parallel business, it's a great way to kind of get the conversation going and maybe get the attention of some customers who maybe are a little bit more passive about what's been going on because they're happy and you've been doing good things for them. It's a good way to kind of, shake their cage a little bit and say, hey, I'm here and I got something new coming out. So those are just a couple. There's a lot more. But like I said, a lot of times you can do multiples of these all at once. But you can also hyper-focus if you want to just, focus in on one of those. Before we go too much farther, I do want to say two things. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some specific products and services. They are not sponsoring this. This is just information I'm sharing. They don't know me. So, there's no benefit. I'm just sharing information with you. No benefit to me. There's benefit to you. The other thing is I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV or the internet. So I'm going to be sharing some legal information. I'm going to be pointing you to some information, but you should make sure you do your own due diligence because where you are, the industry you're in, the type of contest you might be running, there's lots of different variables. So I'm going to point you in the right direction, hopefully put you away from some bad advice, and then it's all up to you. Okay? All right, so let's talk about what types of things are considered a contest. Now, the word contest actually has a specific meaning. And generally when people say contest for this type of online thing, what they really mean is sweepstakes. The reason I'm telling you this is because it's good to use both keywords, but when you do your keyword research, you're going to find that most people refer to everything as contests, even though there are specific legal and practical definitions of these things. So a sweepstakes is what you're generally going to think of when you first hear this word, okay? It's a prize that somebody's going to win or multiple people might win based solely on chance, right? There's no fees involved. They don't have to be skilled in any particular area. All they have to do is enter and then hope for the best. So that is generally what we're going to be focusing on. We'll kind of touch on the other things. But for the most part, that's what people tend to run online. A contest, technically, okay, not in the generic term that people use, but technically, is a skill-based type thing. So, for example, when you see things like, post your best photo or photo editing kind of things. I've got photos on the brain today because I've been doing a lot of photo work. But anything that requires a certain level of skill. So something that might be, judged or voted on either by the person who's doing the giveaway or maybe the rest of the community, however that shakes out. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Sometimes they bring in an independent third party. It's all the same. But the point is that there's supposed to be skill behind the submission, and then based on that, there's some sort of possibility of winning something. The other one that people tend to throw around, but again has a very specific meaning, is lottery. Now, a lottery is a completely different kind of contest, all right? It is something that requires what they say consideration. There's a fee to be paid, okay? So if you think about, like, if you go to your local convenience store or bodega or whatever and you buy a lottery ticket, right? That ticket costs you money and you buy it in the hopes of winning more money. Most of the time you don't, right? Sort of like going to Vegas or Atlantic City. But that's a completely different thing. This is not something that you're going to want to do generally online. So you're going to want to avoid anything or anybody who's trying to convince you that a lottery is a good way to go to promote your business, except for some very specific situations. Vegas, Atlantic City, maybe. So really you're going to stick to either the term contests, whether or not it is a skill-based one or you're being generic, or sweepstakes if you want to be laser precise with what it is that you are doing. Does that make sense, mostly? Okay. Alrighty. So, nice time for my tablet to die. Hang on, gonna unplug it again. Got the new stylus. It's mostly working now. Why did you go to sleep? Don't you go to sleep too? All right, let's keep going here. So let's talk about some of the bad advice that's out there. So, let me back up for a second. You're going to want to make sure that when you're doing this, you are following the rules, right? You want to know and follow the rules, okay? So you want to comply with local, national, global laws. You want to make sure that you're not causing any problems as far as tripping up as far as on the platforms and that type of thing. So actually, before I think I'm gonna probably make more. I had this set up to show you the bad advice, but I think we're going to talk about the legal thing and then we'll talk about the bad advice. I think it'll make more sense then. So wherever you're going to do it, whether you're going to do it on your website, and I'll explain in a minute why that's the case, whether you're going to do it on a platform like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or wherever it is that you are talking to your audience, you're going to want to go and spend some time doing something that most people don't find very interesting. I'm weird, I find it interesting, but I realize that most people don't find it interesting, and that is you're going to want to go and look at that platform's various and sundry rules, okay? Now, you may need to look at a couple of different places. You may want to do some searches. I will go back and put, because as I was preparing the final content for this show, I found specific links for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, so I will go back and put those into the description, so you will have those. But just as an example, so this is the Facebook one, and in particular, see, I'm looking at that screen, and it's actually on this screen. You're going to want to look at the promotions, and you're going to want to look at the collection of data, okay? Because these are the two big things. What are the rules about doing this type of thing on the platform? Maybe I should actually be on the screen here, huh? Hello. So you're going to want to talk about, the rules around being on the platform. And generally, when you sift through all these things, and again, I'm not a lawyer, you're going to want to read it yourself, but, it comes down to all of them want you to state very clearly that they are not in any way connected, sponsoring, endorsing, administering, or in any way associated with whatever you're doing. They're going to want to be completely clear about that, but they're also going to have other rules about what you can and can't do as far as contests and giveaways. They're going to want to make it very clear, what the rules are about it, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail in a minute. Now, I know, or right now, I can feel it. Some people are like, oh, forget it, I'm not going to do this. Don't stress out, because I've actually got a couple of alternatives for you. If you don't want to do this yourself, if you don't want to DIY it, if it feels too overwhelming to deal with all this stuff, I have a couple of different solutions for you. So hang on, we'll get there. But you do want to pay attention, because every single platform is a little different, other than they all want to make sure their hands are very clean of whatever it is you're doing. But they're very specific about what you can and can't do, where you can do it, who you can do it to. And then the other thing is going to be around how and what data you are allowed to collect, and how you're supposed to handle it and how you're supposed to handle requests to remove it, all that stuff around all the privacy stuff, which is not unreasonable, but it is something that a lot of people don't think of when they first start to think about this kind of stuff. So just to show you real quick, this is the Facebook. I also I found Twitter. And it's funny, like some of them are 800 pages long, some of them are not. So I'm just showing them to you so you can get a feel for what's out there. As it's interesting because Instagram has lots of terms and conditions and rules and all that, but they're pretty specific when it comes to the promotion, which I was impressed by. It's like, really, you everywhere else it's like 8,000 different rules, but here they've got it down to 5. That's pretty nice of them. And then for you folks who are on Pinterest, it's under the advertising piece, and it's buried down here, content guidelines. So, and you see, like, they get super specific around all kinds of different things. So it's important to just be aware of that kind of stuff, because you don't want to get caught in it, right? You don't want to step in something inadvertently. You don't want to take something that was supposed to be fun and positive and, getting buzz out there in a positive way and have it turn into a disaster. So a little bit of prep up front will save you a lot of grief down the road. So just take and obviously, if you're not doing it on Twitter, you don't have to read the one on Twitter or Twitch or, I almost said Mixer. Mixer's gone. But wherever you're going to do it, you're going to go and just read all those rules and just be familiar with them and then decide whether you're going to DIY it or if you're going to use one of the other options that I'm going to tell you in a minute. Let me say, so some of the things that you need to include are, you have to have official rules. You need to make sure that you're following any local regulations. You're going to need to think about, what it is that you're going to want to make available. And there's some issues around, if it's physical stuff as opposed to online media, all that kind of good stuff. We will get into all of that. All right, so let me just show you real quick or I can feel people are freaking out. So don't freak. I've got you. There's always options. Remember, there's always options. If there's something out there that freaks you out, you want to do it, but you're concerned, you're feeling like it's unsteady ground for you, there's always solutions. So let's talk about some solutions. Here, this one. So, if you start to read all this kind of stuff and you're like, oh my God, too much, can't deal, I don't want to get in trouble, there's a couple of different places and you can go online and search. Again, I don't know these companies, they're not promoting this. This is just some ones that I've heard about from people. I asked some friends of mine who run a lot of contests, and these are a couple that they talked about. There is a metric ton of them out there. So Easy Promo's blog, they have actual guidelines that you can generate from their service. Okay, they've got it for Facebook, for Instagram, and for Twitter. So they will give you the terms and conditions and online contest rules and all that, and they will customize it for what you are doing. So that is one. And then another one that I found is not that same one. So this is just another one, Real-Time Media, and the same thing. They will give you sweepstakes rules, contest rules, instant win games. They've got all kinds of different ones. This one also has a lot of specialized stuff around healthcare, adult beverages, aka liquor, all that kind of stuff. So the point being that you can do it yourself. You can go to your own lawyer. You can reach out to other people. Another good thing to do is to just go and look at other people's contests. Right? If you just do a search for contests and sweepstake and all that on whatever platform you're looking for, you'll find a lot of people who are doing it. See how they present it. See how they word things. You can even reach out and say, did you use a service for this? Can I go and, maybe use that? Don't be shy. People are very willing to share information. So, again, don't get overwhelmed because there's these other things to think about, right? You were just, I'm going to give something away, I'll get some attention, which is true. Just spend the extra 5 minutes doing this, and then you'll be covered. And it's, again, you don't have to do it all yourself. There are options out there. Oh no, that failed. Hang on. So yeah, I am having some technical issues tonight because last minute I decided that I was going to. Really? Now you're not even going to go away? That's not right. That one? Yes. Last minute I decided I was going to play around, which is always such a great idea, right? You should always go in and change your settings before you go live. No, don't do that. Oh, what can I say? I was just feeling like I wanted to mess around a little bit, and I did. All right, let me try that again. So, and then you'll see why I'm laughing, because This comment is exactly it. Things go wrong live. That's okay. You just got to roll with it. It's life. Things go wrong in life too. And I'm glad you're finding this helpful, Eddie. That's my whole goal here is, it's the kind of thing that not everybody thinks of in advance. And to be honest, again, I say this all the time, most of my best shows come from questions I get from clients. And over the years, I've helped a lot of clients do these. But every time I've had to help somebody, the rules have changed. So somebody asked me about a week ago, they were thinking about doing it. Everybody's trying to find new ways to reach out to their audience and communicate and keep them engaged. And so this one friend of mine who had all these plans for all these on-site events this year, thank you, neighbor. I don't know if you can hear it, but somebody's playing with their new overpriced muffler that sounds worse than most people's old mufflers. So she reached out. She's like, hey, have you ever done this? Because she knows what I do for a living. And I'm like, yes, but the rules keep changing. So that's why I've been doing this, because I've been going back and reading all of the new rules and all the things that have changed over time. Because it does, and that's just the way it goes. So, we've covered why you would do it, what the benefits are. We've covered a little bit about the legal. So let's keep going. Murph, man, do you have to add to the noise that we're getting? I don't think so. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more just about, now that you know that you have options, some of the things you're going to want to include in your rules are who can enter, are there age limits or age restrictions? Again, that may be something that you're specifying, that may be something you need to specify because of the platform you're on. Oh, I forgot. So it's pretty obvious, right? If you're on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or whatever, you're on somebody else's service, of course, you got to follow their rules. A lot of people are surprised that they need to worry about this on their own website. And you do. So let's get that out of the way. You do. You do because, A, you want to be protected yourself, right? You want to do the right things and follow all the rules because they're just a good idea. But you're also going to want to check with your ISP because some of the ISPs have limitations and restrictions around advertising that kind of thing, that kind of content on their servers. This is probably more of a bigger issue for certain types of giveaways, but all the same, you want to do your due diligence. You want to make sure that you go and check that. It's generally going to be maybe a little less intense than some of the platforms, but even if you're only running it on your own website, you do want to do this research. You want to make sure that in your rules, in addition to whatever age limits or location limits, right, because maybe A, you can't do this kind of a contest in certain locations, or B, you just don't want to because you don't want to have to ship physical media overseas or whatever. We'll get into that in a minute, or physical items. But you want to make sure that that is all very clear in all of the rules and even in the context, the content that you're building around your giveaway. You want to make it very clear how they enter. Okay? You'd be surprised. A lot of first-time people, fifth-time people who are doing these kinds of things, sometimes it's the really obvious thing that they miss as they do this, right? They'll put all this effort into it, they'll do all this thing, and then they'll forget like the obvious thing, like how do I enter, or when does it start, when does it end, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure you tell them how to enter, if there's a restriction to how many times they can enter, and what the begin and the end dates are, because got to remember, on the internet, everything lives forever. So, if you're running this contest, in the summer of 2020, and somebody comes across it in the, fall of 2022, obviously there is no contest for them to enter, but you want to make that very clear. And you want to make sure that you are specifying, what the prizes are, prizes, if there's multiple. You want to give any details around, what are the chances of winning. If it's a skill type of thing, like we were talking about with the contest, you're going to want to specify, what the skill level is, how it's going to be evaluated, who's going to be doing the evaluation, all that type of stuff. Basically anything that somebody might question, you have to anticipate and make sure you cover in the rules and the content. And understand that the rules and the content are different blocks of text that you're going to include in whatever other promotional, images or music or whatever else you're going to be doing with that. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the bad advice that's out there. So when you go and you start to think about this and you're looking for ideas, which is all great, you're gonna start to find some stuff that is bad, and some of it is bad because it's just bad. Some of it is bad because it sounds good, even though it's not, and some of it's just horribly out of date. So you want to make sure that any information that you are getting, you want to check the dates, and if it doesn't have a date, blow it by and go to another one, because you want the most up-to-date rules, right? It doesn't help you if you run a contest now or a sweepstakes now and you're going by the rules from 3 years ago, because you're going to get in trouble. That's just how it is. It's your responsibility to make sure you're following those current rules. So, for example, some of the stuff that I saw just when I went to do this search that was maybe okay at one point, but is no longer, or was just always a bad idea. Doing things like, like this post to win, or like this video to win. Tagging a friend or reposting something. Those are not only questionable approaches to life, but on a lot of platforms it is a violation of some rules, so you don't want to do that. Also, anything that might encourage somebody to create multiple accounts, fake accounts, as a way to game your system to possibly increase the odds of them winning, that's going to cause you problems. So keep an eye on those kinds of things as you're going and checking them out. So anything that helps people, tag their friends, share this content on your timeline, share this content on your friend's timeline, or get your friends to share it on their timeline. Anything like that is a bad idea, so don't do that. Things that are good are things that are around, skills. So, if you want to say something like, maybe put a picture up on Instagram and say, caption this photo, right? And the best caption will win. Or help us come up with an idea for X, or make it sort of a game within a game, right? So you can put out a sentence or an idea and have them fill in the blank, right? So whatever, blank, whatever, and whoever comes up with the most creative fill the blank could be a good way to go. You can generally do things like selfies, right? So if you've got a product or a service that somebody's using, maybe you say to them, okay, post a selfie of yourself with our item or with our logo or whatever, and use the hashtag whatever, so we find you, and then we'll have a drawing out of everybody who does it. Those are all fine to do, and those are great ways to get engagement, because it will be in people's timelines. People will get curious about, especially if you're creative with the hashtag you use. But you're not violating any rules by doing it, right? Because hashtags are cool, and people doing selfies are fine. So all of that is perfectly fine to do, and a good way to go about it. Saying, sign up join our mailing list, and you'll be, all people who are on the mailing list as of this date will be entered into the drawing. That's also totally fine. You can totally do that. So Lyle says that he never would have guessed that the rules apply to your website. Yeah, no problem. That's why I mentioned it, because most people are surprised by that one. And it would be a sad one for people to get in trouble over, right? So yeah, you do want to apply pretty much the same rules to your website, just to be on the safe side. Don't get your website in trouble. You want your website to not be trouble. That should be a happy place for you. So yeah, anything about signing up for your mailing list, that's all fine. You can, tie it to a date. You can also do it for just new signups. That's kind of questionable, because sometimes that annoys the people who are already on your mailing list, and some of them will then unsubscribe and subscribe, which is not the end of the world, unless you're using a mail list service, that charges you for each one of those. But so you have to make that decision yourself. Do you want to make it just for the new people signing up, or do you want to make it for all of them? If you want to do it for the new people, then you might want to create it, and this is getting a little deep into mail lists, but you might want to create it as a new mail list, so a custom URL, so that it's easier for you to tell who the new ones are. Just a thought. So just those types of things are good ways to go about it. Good advice that you'll see out on the web. Just stay away from the ones you'll after you read the rules around it from the platforms, you'll be able to start to apply the sniff test. If it doesn't smell good when somebody's making a recommendation, you probably don't want to do that one, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble. It's not worth it. It really isn't. All right. So speaking of mail lists, I have one. I'm not running a contest right now. Maybe I should in the next couple of weeks. I'll think about that. Maybe because the anniversary is coming up, so maybe we'll do that. But you just go to yourtechcoach.net/mailing list. You can sign up, and that way you will know about the upcoming shows and other things that are going on in the universe, or at least my tech universe. So feel free to go ahead and sign up. Privacy is totally assured. I am not selling it. I'm only using it to contact you, and if you want out, you just click the little thing and you are out. So nothing to worry about there. Okay, so let me just make sure we covered all of the other stuff, because I think we're ready to get into the fun stuff. So we talked about why, we talked about bad advice, legal considerations, the good stuff. Okay, it's time for the good stuff, the fun stuff. Okay, so first thing you got to figure out is, what are you going to give away, right? So, I mean, this is a good time for like brainstorming with friends and family and your coworkers and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to throw some ideas out there. But as you're doing this, like, you may have like, oh, this is a great idea, but think about two pieces, which is the prize fulfillment / logistics, right? So if you decide that, hey, maybe you're going to give away, nifty, webcam or tripod and webcam, whatever, assuming you can find any of those right now. A little tough right now. It'll get better. That could be great, but it gets complicated if you then end up with a winner who it's going to cost you 4 times the amount of the item to ship it, and then you've got to worry about it getting lost or damaged and all that kind of stuff. So there's a couple of ways around it. If you do want to keep it open, then look for things that can be drop shipped from a particular vendor. So like, for example, if you do want to do this kind of thing, then maybe what you'll do is, and you don't have to use them, but whatever company, you could have it shipped from a big online store, right? So for example, I've done this with Amazon. So when somebody won something on a show, and I should talk about that in a minute, I didn't want to restrict it. I didn't want to have to worry about that. And I went with Amazon because I know that there's pretty much flipping everywhere. So that's what I did. When the person won, I asked them for their mailing address or post office box, whatever they felt comfortable with. You do have to be a little careful with post office boxes. Sometimes you can ship there, sometimes you can't. But anyway, in this case, the person gave me their address. I went to Amazon, I paid for it, I shipped it as a gift, and it was good to go. So, if you have the item here and you're okay shipping it, then that's fine. But it's just something you want to think about as you're going through this process of deciding what it is you're going to make the prize for your giveaway. You're also going to think about things like import taxes, VAT, right? I think this is one in the UK. Actually, some of you folks might know. You're in the UK, Eddie. It's VAT, right? That's the tax for the stuff coming in and out. So that's something else. Like, you're going to, obviously, if somebody's won something, you don't want it to be an expense to them, so that's going to cost you a little bit more. So these are just things to think about. It's not reasons not to do it. It's just things to think about. If these things are not things you want to deal with, then keep it local. Say, you're only doing it in wherever you're located. My case would be in the U.S. Any place in the U.S., fine. We're going to send it to them. Murph-Man, be good boy. So Amazon, if you have an online store, you could sometimes you can give people a credit, or a discount code, so they can go to the store and pick anything they want and have it shipped that way. There's a lot, like, if you just think a little bit outside the box and just, yes, it's a prize, but if you're looking to ship it to them, now it's a gift that you're ordering for them and shipping through. It's just another way to do it without it becoming a big hassle for you to have to do. So just an idea. It's worked well for me. Actually, so real quick, I'll tell you that story. So those of you who've been watching for a while, I also do a show on Twitch, usually twice a week. And when I did my anniversary, was it the anniversary? No, it wasn't the anniversary. It was when I can't remember if it was the anniversary show or if it was when I got associate. Whichever. I did a 12-hour stream, which, let me tell you, doing a stream like that by yourself is really hard. Fortunately, I have a really good mod, so John was there to help me out. So to keep the show rolling and to keep people coming in, every couple of hours I did a giveaway, and some of them were physical items I had around, swag kind of items, stuff with my logo on it, that kind of thing. Some of it was stuff that I had purchased specifically for this, that had the Twitch logo on it, since it was a Twitch event. So I shipped those out. So anything that I had physical that I was shipping out, I did restrict. Anything that I was going to be able to do online, like the thing I did from Amazon, I was able to open up. Affiliate, thank you, John. So it was to celebrate becoming affiliate. We did a 12-hour show. I'm glad I did it. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. It was hard. But so that's how I did it. So it worked out funny. So I had it was a great event, and it worked out really well. I mean, we had numbers that I don't think we've had since. So maybe I should do it again. But we had a lot of great people. We met a lot of people that we probably wouldn't have met otherwise, who were just curious about the 12-hour stream and wanted to just come by and help celebrate. So we had really, it was a party. It was a 12-hour party. We had a really good time. It just so happened, and it's become a running joke, that one of my regulars won several of the gifts, not through any nefarious means other than she has freakish luck. Like when we play online games, 98% of the time, John, she wins. It's weird. I don't know. I keep telling her, pick my lottery numbers for me. So that made it easy because I was able to ship a lot of things to her in one box, and it saved a little on shipping. But it's just something, again, it's just something else to keep in mind. There, I was prepared to send each one as its own, and I knew what the shipping was going to be, but I kind of saved a couple of bucks on that because they all went to the one person, which was very, very funny and fairly common for a show. So anyway, when you're thinking about it, that's the thing about it. So if you're going to do physical items, swag is a good way to go. If you've got, stickers, people get all kinds of excited about stickers. If you've got, mouse pads with your logo on them, if you do shirts, whatever. Or like I said, if you have an online store, then you can either let them, pick something, or you can pick something, and then ship it to them. They're just going to have to give you their address. But it's a good way to go. Don't want to do that, you can do online things, right? So you can, maybe give away a free class or a membership if you've got, a membership group of some sort. You can offer a private consultation if, you're doing that kind of consult work. Game codes, like, you can go and for the online games, you just need the code to get into it. So you can buy buy the game. When you get the code, you can email the code to whoever the winner is. You can do the same thing with, ebooks, either ones you bought or ones, again, from Amazon. If you do any kind of templates that you normally sell, you could make that a part of your giveaway, include it. You could bundle several things, right? You could make it sort of a grand prize thing. Maybe they get some swag and they get free templates and they get free classes and they get a free consulting session. So you're really only limited by your imagination. If you create PDF guides that you sell online, you could sell those, you could make those to give away. So there's a lot of different ways to go. If you don't want to deal with any of that kind of stuff, you can do things like Amazon, Starbucks, Best Buy. Anybody who does gift certificates that you can order online, you can do that. And again, you can either mail it to them, like Amazon, you can do an email for a gift certificate, or you can buy it and then just email them the code, or you can buy it and send them the card if you want to do that. So again, there's a lot of ways to do it, and it doesn't have to be $1,000. People will do this for $5, $10, $25 gift cards because it's fun, right? And it's something for nothing, and so they can do it. And that maybe gives you a way to do maybe 3 levels, right? So maybe you do a $25 grand prize, and then you do $15 second prize and a $10 third prize. However you want to break it up, just ideas. Maybe you can offer as the free gift an upgrade, right? Or accessories or personalization of whatever it is you provide for them, right? So I know somebody who does jewelry, and what they do is there's usually an upcharge if they want something engraved or personalized or customized, right? If they want like a bracelet, but instead of the bracelets that you have for sale, they want to change the blue to green, you can offer that as a free gift. You can, if they buy something, then very often they buy an accessory to go with it. You can throw the accessory in for free. You can give them early access to something. So if you are getting ready to do a launch, maybe the prize is they get early access and they get it for free. Or you can just offer discounts as it, right? So, but make it a pretty good one. So maybe, the winner gets a 50 or 75% discount on whatever. Just ideas, just throwing it out there. Again, it's really only limited by what you can come up with. It's all good. But the thing is, it will generate a lot of fun. It will generate a lot of buzz. People will talk about it. People will want to share that information with other people. And, sorry, where did that go? Bring that back up. So that's why I didn't want to scare you off with the legal stuff. The legal stuff is important, but it is manageable. And I'm going to give you another way to even make this even easier if you want in a minute. So let's now talk about how you're going to do your giveaway. And again, sky's the limit. But some ideas, what I just talked about, the live show. So that 12-hour live show I did, not easy, but it was a lot of fun. We generated a lot of buzz. We had a lot of people, that have joined us as regulars now from that. But we also just had really good numbers because people were wanting to come by and hang out and maybe win something. So that's a good way to go. And it's a good way to get people to show up for your lives. If you're trying to build a little momentum behind your live shows, you can do that. You can either, say at some point, we're going to give away, a free game code or, whatever it is. And you can say, but you must be present to win, right? And it'll be at the end of the show, right? So that way they're going to stick around for that whole show. So it's just, there's a little effort on their part, but it's fun and you're going to mention it throughout. And then, you'll have more people there and then somebody will win. Like I talked about, the hashtags thing. So whether, you can do the hashtags across multiple platforms, even if you're only running the contest on one or on your website, but you can scatter the hashtags of the 4 wins. And that's a good way to track the activity around it. And again, if you're really good, you're creative with it, you might just spark some interest just by having a really creative hashtag that other people are putting out there. And really, it's a heck of a lot cheaper than paying for advertising on all these platforms. So it's really worth giving a try. Again, we talked about you can do it as, you can do it as a sign up for your mailing list thing. All the new people who sign up by the end of whatever date, they will get it. And, then you just are going to collect and do it yourself. The other thing, now we talked about going to a third-party service if you were looking for help on the legalese, right? On the terms and conditions and the rules and all that kind of stuff. But there are also third-party services that you can go to who will either run the contest for you or help you run the contest. It depends on how much help you're looking for. So again, they have not sponsored me. They don't know I exist. So they didn't sponsor me. These are just 2, okay? Again, there's a ton of them out there and you can do searches for them. I'm just trying to share the concept with you. So let me bring this up. So the first one I'm going to show you is Wishpond. They offer actually a lot of different sales and marketing kind of help, but you can go in and they do contests and promotions. Okay, I really don't like these pop-up things, but whatever. So they explain to you why, they give you different ideas on how to do it, and they will help you with all of these. And usually as a part of this, they also include the legalese around it, so you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 deal out of it. They do want you, of course, to, book a meeting. That's pretty normal. I don't know if I forgot to look if they do the pricing online. Yeah, no. You have to have a conversation with them to find out the pricing. And most of the time I'm kind of like, yeah, no with this. But if you think about, if you go back and you look at all the different options, you kind of do need to talk to somebody, right? Because probably the price for, a vote contest might be more than a sweepstakes, just because there's probably more automation that needs to be built for this type of thing. And so on and so forth. So it does make sense that they would want to talk to you. This is one you've probably seen. Okay, this is called Gleam. And they do all kinds of different campaigns on all different platforms, as you can see. And they will definitely customize it for you and do all that kind of stuff. Let's see, I think they actually show some examples here. So the idea here is that, and like I said, I'm sure you've probably seen these, right? You get this link, people come to the link, they handle all the legalese for you, and then they do all the tracking, right? So, you can follow, you can get a bonus if you're a subscriber, if you're on Twitter, and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, that's over here. So let's just look at another one. So like on Instagram, and these are really good. Even if you don't use them, these are good sites to go and look at if you're looking for ideas, right? So it shows how many entries you've got, how many days are left, and again, all these different options. And you can have as many or as few of these as you want. And then when it's done, they have a system to draw the winner and to help you contact them. Hang on one sec. Oh, that's so much better. So again, it's just something else to think about. It's another way to maybe lighten the load a little bit on you, and to take some of that stuff around the legalese away from your concern. But of course, there's a cost, and I'm pretty sure here too they don't actually just tell us the cost. Well, let me go look real quick. I'm pretty sure all of these are call us. or talk to us. Oh, okay. No, they actually have numbers. So here, let me bring this back up for you. So just to give you an idea around the numbers, so they have a full package, and it's a per month. No, not Malwarebytes. Not interested in that. Go away. Or you can do each piece individually. So at least with this one, it'll kind of give you a feel for it, especially if you've never done it before. Maybe you want that kind of, is it going to cost me $10,000 or is it going to cost me a couple hundred? And if you compare that amount to what advertising would cost you, you'll see that this is actually a pretty good deal. So there you go. And so this one is set up, specifically that, you can do a one and see how it goes, or you can set it up to do it, monthly or twice a month or whatever works best for you. All right, so we're wrapping this up. So the elements of a great contest. Okay, so you're going to need an attention-grabbing title, right? Obviously, you're going to do your keyword research, all that kind of good stuff. You're going to need a very clear call to action, right? You want them to take action on this. You want to make sure that that's clear. You don't want them to have to hunt for it. Make sure that you're including, your prize, your business name, in as much of that title and call to action as possible. Again, for recognition, for SEO, but also to make it very clear to them who and what needs to be done, or who it's from and what needs to be done. Boy, that came out wrong. You want to make sure that you've got your entry details and your rules there. Very clear, simple language. Don't go with the super powerful legalese. Really? We almost made it all the way through without the captions crashing. You're going to want some eye-catching imagery, right? Photos, or have, your graphic designer or hire a graphic designer to build some stuff for you, whatever works. Make sure that all of the details are crystal clear. Where the contest is being run, what are the entry methods, what are the time frame, all the things we talked about, age ranges, start, end date, all that good stuff. Then make sure you promote it. I have seen people put all this effort into doing contests and then not tell anybody. They just kind of sprung it on somebody, either doing a live or a single post. That's not going to cut it. You're going to want to even start promoting it before the launch date of it, right? You're going to want to start to generate some of that buzz prior to it, so that there's some momentum behind it when you launch it, and then it's going to even, it's going to spread and have even bigger buzz on it. So share it in all the places. Go to your Instagram, your Twitter, your Twitch, all the places. Just go ahead and put it out there. There's, again, you will have read all the rules, but generally there's no restriction on you promoting a contest that you're running, even if you're not running it on that platform. This is one that I almost wanted to call bad advice, but I could think of scenarios where it might be okay advice, and that is to submit it to online sweepstakes and contest directories. So if you search for those two terms, online sweepstakes, contest directories, you're going to find lists of nothing but promotions that people click on. There are people who spend an inordinate amount of time entering every contest they can find just because they like to do it. So that's where it's it may not be good if you're looking to build your list. It may not be good if you're looking to extend your audience, right? Because it's going to be random people who are only doing it for the contest, not necessarily because they're also interested in you. However, if you're just looking to generate general buzz, if you're just looking to generate general awareness, maybe it's not such a bad thing. I know that there's hundreds of groups on Facebook that are dedicated to this. I know somebody who's in many of them. Not me, but... So it's just something to consider. It's up to you. It's a judgment call for you whether or not that is something that's going to be useful for you. Make sure you announce it to your mailing list, right? You've built up a mailing list, so make sure you're telling your mailing list about it. Maybe even do a special newsletter through email about it. Make sure that even if you're not running it on your website, that you put a banner on your website that shows out all the pages on your website to let people know about it. And again, make it eye-catching. Make sure there's a clear call to action on it, CTA. Make sure there's a direct link to your contest landing page, all that kind of good stuff. And if you really want to max this out, if you really want to get the most traffic from it, consider running ads. Now, I know I've been saying all along this is a great way to spread the word without spending ad money, but if you've got an ad process, if you were comfortable doing ad campaigns or you have somebody who can do it for you, then you're just going to help extend the reach of the contest and get even more juice out of it if you do that. It's not a requirement. If you're not comfortable doing ads, if you're doing it to avoid ads, that's fine. I'm just saying that if you are an ads person, go ahead and make an ad around it. Again, just make sure on the platform that you present the ad for your contest or sweepstakes correctly, because you know how ads get reviewed and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, you're going to want to do it ahead of time. Start letting people know there's a contest coming. Then run the contest and make sure you talk about it all the time while the contest is running. Make sure you keep promoting it. Make sure, if you are doing, live streams or recorded videos and you've got the capability of doing this kind of stuff, make sure you put your contest information down here, right? Or, have it, sitting up with the top as a, graphic or whatever works for you. But there is lots of things that you can do to keep people reminded of, because people generally don't take action on this kind of stuff the first time or the 5th time or sometimes the 10th time. So just keep getting it out there. And sooner or later that, hey, I can get something for free, part of their brain will kick in. After the contest is done and you've reached out and you've made sure that your winner or winners have gotten their prize or prizes, and that everybody is happy, see if they will do a testimonial for you about it. Just a picture, maybe a word or a couple words, a couple sentences in an email that you have to get permission from them, have them sign things, but that you could then use as part of your promotion, post contest. Make sure you talk about it. Make sure you talk about what happened, what the experience was like, and the funny things that happened during it, and maybe talk about some of the entries that you got in a nice way. Keep it positive. Keep the snark offline, mostly. Right, John? Keep the snark offline, mostly. But make sure that you talk about it after the fact. Send a follow-up email, especially if you did it to the mailing list, but, to your mailing list in general. Or, if you've collected as part of the process, if you followed the rules, and still were able to collect email address, reach out to them after the fact. Maybe offer them a discount or thank them for participating. Do that little bit extra. That will make people kind of notice and say, hey, they did more than just try to get my attention. They actually reached out. It feels good. It shows respect, right, to your audience, and that's always a good thing. And, if you want, maybe, offer them a discount or whatever. But if nothing else, reach out, thank them, let them know it finished, let them know that the person won, and if the person's okay, first name, last initial, won, whatever the prize was. And then maybe create a little FOMO. So, hey, if you missed out on this one, or if you didn't win this time, don't let it happen again, and make sure you're on the mailing list and you're following me on the socials so you know about the next one we do, just so that they know that there's more to come. And then also promote whatever you do, whether it's posting videos or your website or your store, your live streams, all of those kind of good things. All right, so that is what I have for you tonight. I hope that I didn't scare you out of doing contests, because it's really not something to be scared of. You just want to treat it like everything else in your business, right? You want to make sure that you're crossing the T's and dotting the I's and that you've got everything taken care of. And then you go ahead and do it and have fun with it. It is a fun thing, right? It's not something to be super serious about other than following the rules, but, have a laugh. Share the experience. People are going to be happy. Even the ones who don't win will be happy, if you keep them up to date on it and you keep reminding them of stuff and, you let them know how it went. Then it feels like a full experience to them, and they're more likely in the period after that to keep an eye on you. Now, that's a period of goodwill that you want to make the most out of, so make sure you have a plan in place to maximize that. But, enjoy it. It's a good thing, it's fun to do, and it could turn out to be quite a little boost for you in a time when maybe things are a little slower, or as a warm-up to a busy season. Like, so for example, you'll start to see a lot of this start to happen as we get closer to the holidays at the end of the year, because whatever else is going to go on in this world, the holidays are still going to happen in some way, shape, or form. So as a business person, make sure you jump on that long tail, and start to think about ways that you can tap into that energy and into all of the eyeballs that will be out there on the internet looking for information, ideas, content. All right? Thank you so much for being here. I'm here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I do a different show every week. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if there's something that you need help with, feel free to reach out to, don't leave off the mailing list part, just go to yourtechcoach.net. I have a contact form there. You can let me know if you have a question, if there's a topic you want me to cover. As I've said, this topic came directly from a client who is where I'm helping right now get their first ever contest together. I keep reminding them it's a sweepstakes, but the word everybody's searching for is contest, so here we go. So don't feel, don't hesitate to reach out. All I ask is if you need a fast answer on something, that you let me know that so that I can get back to you directly and let me know how to get back in touch with you. I had somebody do that last month. They're like, oh, I really need help with this. And I'm like, great. You didn't give me any way to reach out to you. So I'm hoping they'll still come back. But yeah, so otherwise, I'll just assume that it's something you want me to cover on a future show. All right? For those of you who are interested, I will be on Twitch tonight. What time is it? Yeah, long show again. So 10:30ish, probably 11. So if you want to swing by, I'm your tech coach there. I usually do the show on Thursdays and Friday nights. So come by. We talk about tech a lot. We geek out a lot. But we also play games and do stuff too. So if you're curious, feel free to swing on by. Thank you so much. Have a good one, and we will talk again soon. Bye.